Gail, let me just tell you guys, Gail is a powerful speaker. When she does her presentations, I just tell you, she's like a powerhouse, and I've just learned so much from her. And I appreciate her coming on to share what she told me about how I affected her, because she's really affected me in good ways too.
Julia was telling her story. And I'm sitting back in my seat, just listening to Julia. And at some point in the story, my mind starts to go way back years ago, one night in New York City, when my brother and his girlfriend were outside. Because, in New York, everybody's outside, and there's people everywhere. And as they got into this argument, my brother slapped his girlfriend. And there was a guy standing by, and he pulled out a gun. And as he pulled out the gun, my brother started running, and he's running. And then he runs into this bar, and he happened to run into the kitchen, and there's a guy in the kitchen cutting chicken. My brother snatched the knife out of his hand, and at that point, the guy with the gun came into the bar, and he put the gun to my brother's head, and he pulled the trigger. But as my brother was running, he was shooting at my brother, and the bullets were going through my brother's hair. So when he got in front of my brother in the kitchen of the bar and he pulled the trigger, the gun was empty. So the knife my brother had in his hand, he stabbed the guy, and he stabbed him, and he stabbed him 32 times. A week later, my brother ended up in court. That night when the police were called, they beat my brother so bad that when he walked into the courtroom, his head was so big and he had so many bruises all over his face. And as the prosecutor made his case, my brother's attorney, which was a legal aid because we didn't have any money, he said absolutely nothing. From what I remember, he didn't say anything. That incident, it stayed with me for many, many, many years. My brother was sent to Dannemora. He was convicted of murder, and he was sent to Dannemora prison. But at that time, my husband had joined the military, and we got stationed upstate New York, close to Dannemora. So I had the opportunity to visit him on the weekends. But I could not offer him any support. I had no tools, no support, because I knew nothing about the court system. I knew nothing about prison. I didn't know anything about the law, nothing. So I couldn't help him. A couple of years later, his case was overturned and was thrown out. But I lived with that for so many years. We ended up having orders here to Nevada, and I wanted to take some classes at CSN. So the classes that I took first was computers, and that wasn't it for me. Then I took some accounting, and I said, okay, that's not it. And I decided to take some criminal justice classes. Once I got into criminal justice classes, it just all came on back. But before I got to the criminal justice classes, as I'm sitting in the Toastmasters, in our Toastmasters meeting, and I'm listening to Julia, it hit me. I am living the hidden sentence. That was like huge, because you never know what you're carrying around because of your experiences. So once I took the criminal justice classes, I started learning more about the law and the courts. You don't know a lot about the situations until you get into them with the jail and prison. And at that time, you still don't know a lot. So I just want to say that many people are just not, they're not bad people. They may make mistakes. People make mistakes. And if we don't have the support to help them to see something different so that they can do better, then, really, what are we to do? So what I want to say is, I want to congratulate Julia for writing this book, but I want to thank Julia for writing this book, because Julia took her voice and she put it on paper so that the whole world can see it and use the tools that's in this book and the suggestions and listen to other people's stories while they hear Julia's story. Many times we are looking at criminal movies or movies with crime, or we'll go to prison to visit our loved ones, and we see things that are wrong with the system, and we don't say anything. So what I want to ask is, many of us don't have a lot of money to say, fight this system, but we do have a voice. Let your voice be heard. Write your congressman, your councilmen, your governor, your mayors. Write these people. Write them a letter. If you can't write a book, put it in a letter. But in the meantime, go purchase that book, because now you have something to fight with. You have some tools and you have some support. So use your voice, go get that book, and let's help change the law. Let's change the laws here. Thank you for giving me this time.
Oh, thank you, Gail. I appreciate you so much. And it was just so moving when you told me, how my talk when I was just starting at Toastmasters impacted you. And it really gave me the courage to continue to keep talking about it. And it also gave me the what am I looking for? The knowing that this is what I need to do and that it's right. Because, creating a platform for people, letting people talk about it, having people have tools so they know what to do. Again, I just want to go back to, no, this is not legal advice. This is just based on my experience. So I just want to make that clear. But yeah, talk about it, find your voice. And that's what Barbara had asked me about. And that's how I found my voice. People like Gail, people like Keith, my friends supporting me, my husband, just keep going and talking. And even if I don't know everything, because I was afraid, because I don't know all the statistics. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a statistician or a researcher, but I have experience and I've spoken to a lot of people and I have a lot of feedback. And that's what that's what's in my book. So I thank you, Gail, very much.